Good morning. I think we'll still get everyone 1 minute to join, or maybe grab a coffee or a tea, and we will get started shortly.
Yes. Okay. So we can start now. So we are going to begin.
Yeah, I think we can start here. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you for joining this webinar. I'm Junaid Siddiqui. Enhancing student engagement is a key educational principle. One of the goals of the series of events we are having these days is to introduce technological tools that support this principle. FeedbackFruits is one such platform specifically designed to enhance student engagement by promoting active learning, collaboration, and feedback. KFUPM has decided to pilot this tool during the current academic year, and today's event will introduce you to its features and functionalities. We are pleased to have Julia Waisoka and Martin Mortier from FeedbackFruits with us to give an overview of the platform, and in particular, the FeedbackFruits interactive document feature. So Julia and Martin, we are now all ears to what you will tell us.
Thank you very much, Junaid and Sanula, for hosting the session. And good morning, everyone. It's really my pleasure to spend the next 55 minutes with you, introducing you to the FeedbackFruits tool suite interactive social notations. My name is Julia, and I've been working at FeedbackFruits for over 3 years as an account manager, and I've been working with many institutions worldwide on implementing the tool. So it's really my pleasure to co-host this training today. As Sanula mentioned, the focus of today's training is really an introduction to FeedbackFruits and focusing on the social engagement and active learning part. So this training will be focusing on an interactive document tool, and we will be showcasing you the variety of use cases that you can utilize with this tool. We will have a mix of both demo and an interactive components. I would like to walk you through both the student perspective as well as the instructor, and also for you to experience how students can complete those assignments and really benefit from them. So we've prepared an interactive session that you can walk through an activity as a student, but also set up an activity in your own sandbox. So in the first part, we'll focus on the student. In the second part of the training, we'll be focusing on the instructor end. And of course, we will end with a Q&A session. And also we are hosting a next training tomorrow on the video component. So if you would be interested, we would love to welcome you tomorrow. I would like to just start off with a brief sort of introduction to the challenge of active learning and engaging students in their teaching. I'm sure that you're all familiar with this graph that showcases the usual timeline of students' engagement throughout the course. Initially, what we are seeing, there's an excitement, students start of the course, they're learning new things. But after a while, because there are so many components students need to focus on, we usually see a lower engagement level and what we call an engagement crisis. So what's really important is the involve students in different type of activities, keep them engaged, and also make them focus on the study material. But that not always happens. And what we often see is the exam panic at the end, where students start studying really to make sure that they pass the exams and pass the course. And we really want to change that, really want to make sure that students are offered different learning activities. And this is by means of including more authentic assessments, more activities that will focus on their skill development, but also engage them and make them active and not passive in their learning. So for that, we want to include variety of different activities. And what you're seeing now on the screen is the Bloom's taxonomy that really says a lot about how students are learning and what are the best methods for them to engage. So obviously the lectures and reading are effective, but we also want to include additional components such as students being able to demonstrate their knowledge, discuss in groups, and by default, practice by doing and teach others, because it says that really this is the most empowering strategy for students to learn. So I hope that in this training and with the tool, you'll be able to include those additional components on top of your current methods and really utilize the features to make the teaching even more engaging and active. Since we have a lot of participants today, which I'm really happy about, there will be some specific moments to address any questions, but please feel free to also put your questions in the chat. That might be a bit easier for us to address this in the Q&A moment at the end. So seeing those challenges, we are coming here from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. FeedbackFruits is a scale-up company that originated 10 years ago, working with many institutions that really want to make the interaction happening, and they're really looking for methods to include it. So our mission is to make better teaching easy to organize and provide those tools that will make you streamline the effective methods for teaching. And we work with a lot of universities, more than 200 currently, on making those strategic objectives and prepare students to navigate those 21st century skills. So with all of that, we have a pleasure to collaborate with the university on a partnership where the tool suite is available to you already in Blackboard. And with our tool suite, we focus on two different pedagogical challenges, that is feedback and assessment, as well as collaboration and engagement. So we can really see the full tool suite and what tools are included, variety from engaging students in their feedback, collaboration, group work, but also what we'll be focusing on today is the engagement and making sure that students can improve their comprehension on a material. So if there is anything that really resonates with you from this tool basket, keep that in mind. We'll have future trainings as well. And for today, we'll be focusing specifically on the interactive document that we'll learn more today about. So here's the interactive document. The tool basically means to engage students by letting them interact with the study material, whether this is a case study, an article, maybe a homework assignment. And on top of that, engage them by answering different type of questions and discussing topics and prompts among each other. So as you can see in this picture here, this is an example of a learning activity where students are asked to answer multiple choice questions, ask questions amongst each other, and the instructor gets obviously all analytics and insights into students' collaboration, but also any challenges that students encounter. So this is a very powerful tool for you to know where the gaps are, how students are progressing in their learning, but it's also a very simple tool to set up. As you've seen, we have a lot of tools in our tool basket, but the learning curve for this one, from what we've been seeing, is relatively low. You'll experience it yourself, so you will see that this is quite simple for students to navigate. It really reminds them of a social annotation activity that it's easy to navigate, but really provides a powerful tools. And instructors are using this tool for a variety of different reasons. You can use this tool to passive consumption of passive study materials, so making sure that students come to class prepared and they not only read an article, but also really engage with it. Next to this, you can make sure to encourage students' discussion. I can imagine that, especially in the online environment, in asynchronous courses, it's very difficult to engage students and make sure that they also can get to know each other and the course content. So it can be a really good engaging part that you can incorporate outside of your class. And of course, we want to make sure that students can prepare and that you also have some type of visibility into students' progress, and students have incentive to do it. And all of that is seamlessly integrated into Blackboard, so we're not going outside of any platform. And this creates a lot of benefits. First, we can push the grades directly to Blackboard. So in case you're working on a summative assessment, you can easily grade students and push those grades into the gradebook. Next to that, in case you have a large group of students, you can also make it a group assignment, so students only see collaboration of their peers in groups. Those groups can be easily synchronized with Blackboard as well. And last but not least, if you have any deadlines, those can be also synchronized with Blackboard Calendar. And before we move into a short demo of the student perspective, I also wanted to show you 3 use cases that we chose so that you can understand better how you can incorporate the tool in your teaching. The first use case is based on the collaboration. So with this tool, what you can really do is make sure that students are collaborating and discussing problems together. So you can group them in small groups and then prompt them to solve a case study or answer maybe a challenging question. On top of that, students can also add their own questions or reflections. So you can sort of flip the classroom, and instead of asking them questions, they can also come up with really good content. And here we are tackling really the highest part of the Bloom's taxonomy of students teaching others and practice by doing. This is also an example of how you can incorporate slides from your seminar or lecture, and then students maybe after the class can address any questions that they have. This is a very common use case that we're seeing. Next to that, we can tackle problem solving. I know that many of you have courses with mathematics, engineering, courses where they're very technical and really require more diving into specific problems. So you can make sure that students can solve equations, for example, by annotating specific part of the article, but also type equations themselves. This is also possible for them to do. Next to that, they can use it for homework exercises and quizzing, and you don't have to worry about the course modality or the size of your class, as everything can be adjusted. And last but not least, this is an example of academic reading, and might also be the case that you have a lot of articles for students to read prior to the class, and it can be quite daunting, specifically if students really like more engaging type of environments. In this case, you can just, like in this example, include an academic article and ask students to highlight key concepts. You can use it sort of for an annotation type of activity. It will really help students to critically reflect on this given topic, but also become familiar more with the structure of academic article. And of course, with the tool, there comes a lot of features that I will also highlight in the demo, but we know that you are very busy, so we want to make sure that the process is streamlined and that you can also copy the activities that we are using, and therefore you'll have ability to always template an activity and reuse that later on. Next to this, you have the option to include grading in your assignment, but of course you can also keep it formative. So in case you just want students to practice or prepare for class, that's perfectly possible. Next to that, as I already mentioned, the tool is suitable for both synchronous and asynchronous learning. You can also use that tool in your class as well. So maybe students can go through how homework together, but they can finish it off after the class as well. And also what we're going to see in the demo is that you have powerful analytics on your end, so you can visualize students' learning and progress. That is all for the introduction. I would like to now go to the demo in Blackboard and show you how students can experience this activity, after which we'll move on to the more hands-on interactive part. But before, I'm curious to hear if there are any questions, any focus questions that hasn't been addressed in the chat.
So far, there are no questions. I think we can proceed for now, and if there are any questions that come up, we can address them later on.
Right. Okay, then in this case, I'm going to move on to our test activity. As a student, I will share my screen very briefly, and in the next few minutes, I would like to walk you through how students can experience the interactive document. So this is an example of an interactive document from an engineering course where students are asked to read an academic article and make several annotations. As you can see, students open this activity. They can first read the instructions, what's there in the activity. Now comes the main part of reading the document. They can also see what is expected from them. In our case, we're asked to answer one question card, but also join a discussion. And after this, students can optionally reflect on the activity, so write what they've learned. The last part is grading, that's optional. So in order to annotate the activity, we'll click on the document, and here you can see how students can do it. I will scroll down through the paper, and then throughout the assignment, I'll see certain annotations. This is one of them. This is an example of a prompt where the instructor is asking students to reflect on certain part of the activity. And I can do it in the following way. In addition, students can always add engaging items such as recording audio, also video, or maybe recording their screen. This is very good feature to use in case students do this assignment fully online and they want to add maybe more humane part of it. Also, as we are writing the annotations, students will be able to like, upvote, but also reply to other students. And after this, students will also get notifications, so they will be prompted to answer those questions. As we move on further, students will also see some open and multiple choice questions. You can see an example how you can also highlight a graph or maybe an equation and then based question on that. As you can see in this case, in order to move on further into the video, I need to make sure into the document, we need to make sure that the students at least gives a chance and gives an answer here. So maybe this is my answer and I can submit. And in this case, students would need to self-reflect on their own answer. So they need to evaluate whether it was correct, almost, or wrong. I think I was quite wrong in this case, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to choose that, and then we can close question and move on further. Also, as I mentioned, students will be able to annotate themselves. So I can also choose a specific part of the document and then create a discussion thread. And we can post it like this, and it will be available to other students as well. I hope that this gives you a good understanding of how this assignment works. Students will always be able to sort and filter on the contributions of others. Like in our case, we have a lot of students here, a lot of participants, so it might be helpful to sometimes maybe filter it by contributions from teacher or other peers. And once we finish with the assignment, students will also get the summary of the activities, and they will be able to optionally reflect on this activity. As you can see, we also included a reflection coach that help us provide good quality reflection. So I can maybe write and we'll see. In this case, I need to provide more details. The feedback is not good yet. And then after time, I'll also get additional reflection here, which can really help students. After the deadline or after all students finalize the activity, the grades also will pop up here. So that is all for the activity as a student. Now, I would like to move on to the interactive part so you have opportunity to experience this assignment yourself. We've prepared a very similar activity for you. It's based on a little bit different material. It's an article from an engineering, and we ask you to do a couple of actions in this assignment. Let me share my screen. The activity that we set up for you is looks as the following on the screen, and we kindly ask you to navigate to a course that I will share the link to. This is the course. It's a Blackboard course where the FeedbackFruits activity is embedded. We ask you kindly to log in with your student details, and then once you click on the FeedbackFruits link, you can start the assignment. And when you go to the document and follow the same steps as I did, you will find 3 different prompts in this activity that will kindly ask you to finish. And you have
Yes.
10 minutes to do so.
Yeah, you can just sign into the Blackboard in the normal way that you sign in, and then in your My Courses area, you are going to find a course for FeedbackFruits demo course, right, Sanola?
Yeah, the course has also been made available, so they should be able to see it in the current term for 241. So it should be visible. If anybody is not able to see it, please click on the link. It's self-enrollable, so they can enroll in the course as well. So
Thank you very much. You should see something similar to what I see on my screen. So you will see the link to the activity. It's FeedbackFruits activity complete as a student during training. And I will keep this tab available here so that everybody can navigate. Please do let us know if you have any questions at any point. We would like to finalize this hands-on activity half past. So you have 10 minutes roughly to complete the 3 prompts. And in case of any questions, you can always put them in the chat or raise your hand if
there
you're
is a
able
question in the chat, Julia, if you'd like
to.
to just have a look and reply, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Just reshare the screen once again. Reshare the link to the course content once again, and you will be able to find this activity once you click on this folder. Let us know in case you have any troubles getting into the activity. Thank you. On my end, I am also able to already see how many of you have entered the assignment analytics that I will share in just a moment. So I can see that half of the group has at least answered 1 question card, which is really good to see. And looking forward to see the other half also accessing the activity. If you have questions, please let us know. I can see now that 65 people have at least started viewing the activity. So that's really good to see. Waiting for the remaining people as well. I've also got a couple of messages that a couple of instructors already completed this. That's great to hear. If you could kindly wait 2 minutes, then we will share the screen and walk through the activity together. So kind of ask of a little bit of a patience, but great to see that there are already instructors that finished. Okay, as many of you are wrapping up the activity, I would like to now share the screen and show you the analytics and the assignment that has been completed by, I think, 75% of all of you. So I'm going to share my screen. For those that are still completing, take your time. This is a walkthrough of how you would normally check the activity after students finalize it. So this is the perspective from a teacher perspective. So I can really see all the analytics here. If I go to the full screen mode, I can see many of you already answered the question cards. The answering score is already very high. So I'm glad to see the activity wasn't too challenging, and also the total number of comments. And I can also see how many students have been enrolled in total. And these are the analytics for all. There are also some instructors that are still in the first part of the activity. I can also move on to the questions and I can see the answering scores. So let's have a look. All in all, the first question was quite easy. And the second one I see a bit more challenging. I think it's because it was an open question. And I can see also real time the answering score. So we have all in all more than 40 written answers. And now I'd like to move on to the actual document so we can see more insights from this activity. If I open on the document and I click on this toggle, I will open all of the conversations, questions that have been happening. So what I can see, first of all, is our multiple choice. Let's have a look. Everything is anonymized, so please don't worry if you didn't answer it correctly. This is all just for the purposes of showing the activity. So we can see that the majority of you answered well. This was a multiple choice question with multiple correct answers. So even if you had one good, then it also counted as right, even though there are 3 answers, and you probably already see the explanations and how the assignment works. We can see in this document that there are also some annotations. Some instructors found some parts of the document appealing, interesting. And here we have the open question. So this was an open question about engineering projects, and this is very interesting to see your answers. Some of you don't know much about this particular topic, which, yeah, I hope that maybe you learned something new perhaps. And you can also see the answering score as well. In the assignment, you obviously haven't seen the names of instructors, students. In this case, we do it for sort of anonymity reasons, but as an instructor, you always have insights into the names of students and how they have contributed. So we have a long list here. Glad to see these responses. And as an instructor, what I can also do is I can upvote the comments, but I can also click on reply. And again, similarly to the student end, I will be also able to respond with an audio or with a recorded video. So I can click correct. It's really beneficial to engage with students in those type of activities. What I've been seeing working with other instructors is that giving the assignment alone is usually not enough. So it's really powerful to still reply sometimes or provide some additional guidance or even just respond to students with a this was a good comment or giving a like. That really gives students the incentive that their contribution has been heard and seen. So if I could, I would give you all a comment because I think you all done an amazing job. So thank you very much for all the contributions here. Usually when we run those trainings, people just write a dot or okay. So this is really good to see that you really put a lot of effort into this. Oh, and we also see some additional thread here. This was my general question on the activity. So I see that some of you wrote that it's interactive, that this is good for real-time activity, beneficial, good, great. And what you will be able to see as well is the grading module. So if I publish the grades now, and I'm going to do it now, you'll be able to see on your screen the maximum of grade that you received. So in this case, I think all of you just done a really good job. So it's probably only going to be Ace and A plus. But once I push the grades into the grade book, then you'll have visibility of it and it will also appear in Blackboard. So in our case, we included this grading modules, and it's good to know that as an instructor, I always will be able to adjust the grade. So maybe I think that this student done really well job. So I can also push the grade to a bit higher. I can add a few points here and there. It might be good additional thing to know that you can also do it in the grading. And you can also always publish the scheduling dates for the grades in case you have a lot of assignments. That might be useful to know. All right. As you're also seeing on the screen, we have this sort of live interaction here, so I can see which students are currently in this activity. At the top, I will also be able to see all those annotations that students have made, and this is also how it's visible on the student end. Students will get notifications from these Fruity users because we included anonymity in this case, so that they will be able to see and immediately jump into the thread or discussion to answer. What's good to know is that we provide the interactive support chat that's available Monday to Friday, supporting all of the time zones. So in case you or students have any questions, we highly recommend just writing a message to our colleagues. They already know which assignment you're in and will be able to help you with any type of questions that you might have. Now, in case this is an activity that you really like and want to reuse it further, I want to guide you how you can template it. Next to the edit button, you will see 3 dots that say create a template. This will enable you saving this activity in a way that can be reusable and easily accessible from the tool picker, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. So I can save this activity as a template, and it will travel with me throughout all of the courses. The templates are personal. Now, you probably already seen on my screen, but I have this edit button. With this edit button, you'll be able to make any adjustments to the activity. You can, for instance, set up instructions, where you can also add the engaging items. You can schedule the collaboration option. So this is to enable whether the activity is individual or in groups. And you can, of course, also edit the document, add the questions. You'll be also able to add any deadlines that you wish to have so that students will only get access up until a certain point. You can also include the anonymity feature here. And in addition, you can also decide whether students can download the material or not. Also, we have the grading component, so you can click configure and add any additional modules that you want. With this plus button, you can also add the reflection module, so that really provides students with additional incentive on reflecting on the activity. And after clicking the reflective coach here, students will also get additional pedagogical advice on writing their reflection, as I showed at the very beginning in the demo. Now, when it comes to the grading, after clicking on configure, you have a lot of options to grade students on particular modules. In our case, we only included the grade on viewing the document and making the annotations, but you can also score students on the answers they provided, or maybe writing a reflection. It really depends on your use case. Now, when it comes to adding questions and making any adjustments in the document, we need to go to the document itself to do it. As you saw, all of the questions and annotations that have been made were on specific part of the document. So in order to do this, what we need to do is to drag or highlight specific part of the activity. And then you have two options. It's either to include a question card or a discussion thread. Maybe we can do it with the question card first. And then you have two options. This is either to include the multiple choice question or an open one. If I click on the multiple choice question, then you'll have a very quiz-like type of activity where you can enter your question. And then possible answers, A, B, or C. And then you can just tick the right answer. You can always add an explanation as you had in this assignment, but also an attachment. In addition, there are additional settings, such as requiring participants to answer before continuing further. This is the option we included in our test activity. So you had to give an answer to continue. This is a really great option to include to nudge students to really answer instead of moving forward. So in case you want to include that, you can just click that toggle. You can also allow students to select multiple answers or include the scratch off mode so that students will get still some points even if they don't answer properly. And then we need to publish this. The second part of a question is the open one. Very straightforward. In this case, we just need to enter a question and then a correct one. What I want to show you is something that I really hope that you will be also using in your assignment. This is the suggestion on the content creation. We see that often it's very time consuming to create a good discussion prompts. So we included this AI suggestion that can really help you creating good discussions and questions. So what I'm going to do is to again, highlight specific part of the document. And then instead of thinking about the question, I can just click on suggest. And in a couple of minutes, you will see that on my screen, there will be a suggested reflection question, as you can see here. And there is also a correct answer already provided. If you're not satisfied or if you want another different type of topic, I can just click on suggest again. And there will be another prompt showing in this question. And in addition, you of course have additional settings very similar to the ones that we just covered. In addition, students can also reply to given questions. So if you want additionally prompt students, this will be a good one to include, after which you can click on publish. Now, the last part, the last type of question you can include is the discussion thread. So this is a simple discussion prompt that you can ask students, reflection as we did it. This was the third part of the activity, or maybe some questions as well. So that is all for setting up the activity. You can either do it once you save it or when you do it from scratch, which I would really like to navigate now to show you how you can do it from scratch, after which we will spend the next 10 minutes on setting it up. But before, are there any pressing questions that hasn't been answered in the chat? I hope not to neglect any of you. I know that Marta is doing his best to answer all of them. Are there any outstanding questions that haven't been answered, or perhaps something to address at the end? I see how to create an activity. Perfect timing. Exactly. Let's do it then. I would like to show you how you can create this interactive document activity in your Blackboard. So feel free to log into your sandbox, open your course. I know that you have been already enrolled in this activity, in this course, so you'll be able to create activity yourself. And I will walk you first how you can find FeedbackFruits, and then we'll have around 10 minutes to create this activity. So let me share my screen again. Here we are. This is one of the test courses. So in order to create FeedbackFruits activity, any activity really, it's not only just a document, we would need to navigate.
One thing to the
Yes.
participants so they could follow. So you see at the top, there is a button, web courses, on the top right corner. So everyone can go there and find their sandbox there, on this page. And then they can go within that, and then they can follow with us as Julia is going to provide what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please take your time to navigate to the web courses and follow with us. So in order to find FeedbackFruits, we will need to navigate to the assignment sections or the course content, and then click on Build Content. FeedbackFruits then will appear on the list of the LTI tools somewhere in the middle. This is roughly where I can see it. You probably will see it in the same exact spot as well. And then I'll just create the activity. I will click on FeedbackFruits. Now, after several seconds, you will see the following. This is the tool picker, as we call it. So you have different categories to choose from. And this circles back to this reuse of activities and templating that I've mentioned to you. So in my library, you will see all of your templates, activities that you templated as we just did a few minutes ago. You will see all of them here. The past activities are all of the activities that you used. So everything will be here. Nothing will be lost. Start from scratch. This is what we are going to use. We'll give you a list of all of the tools with no content, so you can design it from zero. And Learning Design Community, here you will see all of the templates, examples from our other partnering schools. So this will be a great option to choose from if you want to get additional inspiration on the activities. But we will click on Start from Scratch so that you can design your activity from zero.
There is a question about not having my library on that screen, that the screen from where you came.
So there's no My Library here. That's perfectly fine. You will only see that once you create a template or once you already have some type of activity. So you will likely only see the Start from Scratch, Learning Design Community, and past activities. So we would need to navigate to Start from Scratch, and then you can find interactive document here. Now, what we need to do to save an activity are two steps. First is to provide the title. And then submit the document. You can always change the deliverable after. But for now, we just need to submit something so that, yeah, you have the assignment saved. I know that many of you might not have a document at hand, so I've already prepared an example that I will share with you. This is a PDF file, in this case from engineering. So feel free to use this PDF, download it on your device, and then use this by selecting the document here. So I can do here. We can open this.
Yeah, so the document is in the chat, Zoom chat.
Exactly. And after a few seconds, it will load. And at this point, you can open the document and you will be able to add those interactive questions and prompts that I just show you. So what you can just try to do is just to fill the tool. I recommend you going to this activity, selecting a passage, and then clicking on discussion thread. And then you can click on suggest. You can use this AI generator to help you with the content. And after roughly 5 seconds or so, you'll get the content in your activity. Or you would need to repeat that action. So feel free to use that. And once you create discussion prompt, once you go around this tool, you need to click save to make sure that everything and all of this is saved. What I can also recommend is only really giving the title and the document and saving it and then going back to this activity, because this will ensure that no work is lost in case you have this open for a long period of time. Of course, we might run into this, so we can also just do the bare minimum and save it. So I'm going to once again share this screen. You can see all of the information here on the screen. I hope it will help you and those that just started in their Blackboard course. We have a short explanation here, step by step, and then you can follow these activities. And I would like to spend the next 5 minutes just seeing how that will work and setting it up. So please spend the next 5 minutes navigating, and I will catch up very neatly on the questions in the chat. So. And I can also see some questions about the library and the templating and all those steps. So let me also go through this very quickly as well. I will navigate once again to FeedbackFruits. Indeed, so the My Library, here we have the storage of all of your individual templates. So if you have an activity, you set it as a template, then you will see those activities here. And after this, you can just simply click on this and use it. So this category will show up once you have a template saved. And how the template is saved, you need to navigate to an activity that you recently created, and then in the next 3 buttons at the top right corner, then you have option to create a template. So once we save it as a template here, it will show up in the tool picker. And in addition, I didn't mention, but you always have an option to send a copy to your colleague. Maybe you're collaborating on an activity with someone, maybe you're creating it for a teacher. You'll be able to send this activity via email like this, and you can also add a message. Okay, we'll still give you a few more minutes to navigate, ask any questions. And I see a very good question whether we can have some ice-breaking activities from FeedbackFruits to use in the classes. Very good question. Yes, absolutely. We can work on having ice-breaking activities. And what we can do is we can also include them in the tool picker, so you will have all the templates ready for you to reuse. So you can simply navigate there and reuse it. So that's something that we can work with the team to enable it for the fall semester. Thank you for the suggestion. And I can also see the question from Akram, how to write equations in the multiple choice. Very good question. We support the text editor so that you can make sure that you can include equations in your questions. I will share an article briefly explaining how you can add those so that you can adjust the text and include it. I just shared a link that will walk you through how to include the different equations. Feel free to have a look into this and test it yourself if you would like. There's also a question if we can add a link to a video clip from YouTube. Wonderful question. We have a training on the video component tomorrow. So if you're interested to learn how to include video assessments in your courses, I suggest you join tomorrow, but it will be possible to also add the videos in YouTube format in the video component as well. So that's a short answer. And the recording of the session will be sent to via email. I'm sure it will be shared with everyone. And I also see comment from Mohammed, how to include an engineering problem solving activities. What I suggest is to include a homework activity, paste it as an interactive document. You can also paste it as a link, so it doesn't have to be necessarily a document from a computer, but also a link, and then ask students to solve it. They will be able to use the text editor to add their equations as well, so that might be helpful. The alternative will be also to include videos, and that we will cover tomorrow as well. If there are any specific questions, Mohammed, on this, please do let me know. Okay, we'll have final 1-2 minutes for the hands-on activity. I'm curious to hear if there are any additional questions or maybe any reflections from participants. How did you feel about this activity? And I also read that there was a power outage for some of you. I'm really sorry to hear that. The session is recorded and we'll make sure to share it. So please don't worry about this.
Yes, the session is being recorded and you'll be able to get it. And maybe we can also share the slides if someone prefers that.
Absolutely. And I'm glad, Akram, to hear that you find it so interesting. I hope that you've learned something today and that you can also see the value of the tool being added to the course. Thank you. And I know that we will need to finish at 12 sharp. So I wanted to extend an invitation for tomorrow training, which will cover very, very similar outline to today's one, but we'll focus on the video components. So how you can implement interactive, engaging video materials in your classes. We'll cover use cases and we'll also have an interactive training, interactive hands-on part as well. So we kindly invite you to join. The link is the same one as for today's session. So feel free to sign up. And once again, we'll make sure to share with you the presentation slides, the recording of the session, and any additional materials that will be helpful when getting started. And that also includes videos for students so they know what to expect from this assignment. I also look at any outstanding questions. I don't know if this was mentioned already, but please know that you can include any type of documents, links, or files in the interactive documents. So also if you have any textbooks from publishers, feel free to include it. But the important thing is that it needs to have an open access. So in case you have you need to log in to a library, this will permit from the document to load. So you need an open access to the activity. I hope this answered any questions. And in case there are any questions haven't been answered, I know I also got quite a lot of individual questions. Please do let me know. And also the team, this is my email address. As mentioned, we also have the support chat available within the tool. So we highly recommend you reaching out to our colleagues with any technical questions, but also maybe some use case questions. And we really hope that you'll enjoy using the tools. So thank you so much for your very active, engaging participation. Great questions. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you, Julia. So hopefully, you're going to, whoever is possible, please join tomorrow to see the session on the video. And as we have already said, the recording will be available for this session. So this power outage happened at a very unfortunate time, but you will have something to see even if you couldn't stay here for all the period. So have a good day.
Thank you so much. Have a great week.